haunted Congkak. They have been playing with it almost every day. Fika and her twin sister, Lina, could not seem to get enough of playing with the Congkak. Ever since their aunt brought back the wooden mahogany board with the intricate design from her overseas trip, the girls have been attracted to the game as soon as they figured out how to play it. From the kitchen, Lina could hear the 7-year-olds dropping marbles into the holes that would lead into their respective houses at the end of the board. Occasionally, one of them would squeal with delight if she managed to gain more marbles. Sometimes there were arguments, but they would make up immediately after and set off to play another round with the board. As it was the school holidays, Lina did not mind them playing with it. It did let them learn about estimation and planning of strategies on the best ways to get more marbles for their house. She assured herself that at least the girls were learning something rather than staring at the television the whole day. The weeks flew by, and before she knew it, the school holidays had ended. Lina found herself alone at home after the girls left for school and her husband for work. It was peacefully quiet after their noisy morning routine of preparing for school and coaxing them to have a quick breakfast. Her husband had hurried off for an early morning briefing session at work and could only sip half a cup of coffee before saying his goodbyes. Lina stretched on the sofa, closing her eyes. She had been up since dawn, preparing breakfast, and was too tired to clean the dining table. She thought that a quick nap would help her recharge. Staring at the ceiling fan, she sighed and dozed off. The sound came in her subconscious, the audible plop of a single marble on top of another. Lina awoke with a start and stared at the Congkak board at the corner of her living room. The gleaming mahogany board lay innocently with the marbles neatly arranged in each hole. She shook her head and thought it must have been her imagination, since she had heard the sound almost daily for the past 1 month. She got up and started to clear the dining table, occasionally glancing at the Congkak board suspiciously, but nothing strange happened that morning. Lina summed it on her overactive imaginations. The loud music coming from the radio and her vacuum cleaner humming helped her forget about what she thought she had heard. That afternoon, as soon as the girls came home, they sat in front of the Congkak without even changing out of their uniforms. Lina was furious and demanded that they changed, ate their lunch, and cleared their homework before playing with the Congkak. Dutifully, they obeyed, but not without much protest from them. Lina was shocked that the usually obedient girls had turned against her. She dismissed it as stress and kept her distance. The next few days saw the same pattern. Lina would hear the occasional marble drop on top of another, but did not see anything amiss. She even counted and made sure that there were 7 marbles in each hole. The placement was in such a way that it was ready for the next round of game. The sound, however, did not prepare her for the girl's act of disobedience, and her husband was always in a foul mood after work. She found herself growing impatient at everybody and was always in a sullen mood. There was an air of dread and unhappiness in the house that Lina could sense, but one that she could not pinpoint the source. That weekend, Lina suggested that they got out of the house for a while and to spend some time as a family outdoors. Surprisingly, everyone agreed. Even the girls who usually protested managed to complete one round of Congkak before changing into their favorite dress for their family outing. They went to the mall, watched a movie, and ate at their favorite restaurant. It was as normal as could be. The happy mood did not last long. Once they stepped into the house, the girls were back to their Congkak and her husband stayed in the study room. Lina sullenly stomped into the kitchen and decided to do the laundry. That night, she went to bed angry and could not even be bothered to tell the girls who were still playing the Congkak to go to bed. The sound of marbles plopping into another was her lullaby as she laid in the dark. She glanced at her husband's empty pillow, scoffed, and turned over with a pillow over her head. Suddenly, she was awakened by her husband's shouting in the living room. She glanced at the clock. Midnight. She hurried out and saw her 2 girls huddled in front of their room. She made a beeline for them, and both of them were crying and they clung on tightly to her. She stared open-mouthed as her husband was scolding and shouting at the Congkak, now turned upside down and marbles scattered everywhere. All she could hear was her husband ordering whatever entity surrounding the Congkak to get out. Lina coaxed the girls into their bedroom. They did not protest and soon fell asleep after Lina assured them that everything was going to be all right. She stepped into the living room and watched as her husband picked up the scattered marbles. He placed them in a bag, muttered some prayers over them, and picked up the innocent-looking Congkak. He gestured for Lina to open the front door, and he stepped out of the apartment, stomping down the stairs. From the kitchen window, Lina saw him dump the Congkak and the bag of marbles into the disposal bin. Soon after, he came up, locking the door behind him, sat on the sofa, and sighed.
What happened?
She finally allowed herself to ask.
I was in the study room trying to plan next week's schedule for the foreman.
He began.
It was only then that I realized that the girls were still playing with that thing.
He could not even bring himself to say out the board's name.
That was when I stepped out and saw both of them still at it. What shocked me was a third shadow between them, like a hazy grey smoke surrounding them. I called the girls, but they did not appear to be listening. I just grabbed both girls and pulled them away.
Is the shadow still here? In the house?
She whispered.
No.
He assured her.
It came with a Congkak and will follow it wherever it goes. Let's just hope it will not come back.
He explained. Peace settled in the family at last. The girls never inquired about the Congkak, and Lina was glad that she would never be haunted by the sound of dropping marbles again. What do you think? Have they been given a cursed Congkak? What was that shadow?